everybody? It's your boy, the Versace Stoner. We're here with a very special guest today on this episode of VSW Podcast. That's right, the winner of the Kill City Cup, Natalia Markova. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the VSW. We've been trying to get you on since I watched that movie, I have to say. Big fan of Kill City Cup.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, that was a fun experience for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get into all that. We got a few things to talk about, but I want to go back a little bit. For those that don't know, what got you into pro wrestling? What made you say, "Hey, I want to be a pro wrestler"?
It's like the most popular question I guess everybody asks me.
It is.
Yeah, and I have like the most boring answer anyway. It's just when I was a kid, I used to watch wrestling. I loved it, and when I first saw it, actually, I was like, okay, I want to be there. I want to be that person. I want to be a wrestler. I was like around 3 years old back then.
Who did you love? Who did you love to watch?
I just watched everybody. There was no like one person that I was like, oh my God, that's the one. No, just wrestling in general.
Just wrestling in general, and just watching the action and all, of course, all the excitement that took place. You're like, that's for me. That's the lifestyle. I'm going to do anything it takes to get there. So I think when you got to the right age, you went to a wrestling school.
Yeah, around 17, I went to wrestling school. I was in Russia. It was not really like the best wrestling school ever, but it was a good start. And then in the beginning of my career, somehow I was noticed by Japanese wrestling promotion, DDT Pro. So that was my real school in there. I trained, and then I just was learning more and more all over the world, everywhere.
So you were born in Russia then?
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. And how was, so now you said you watched wrestling on TV. What was shown there as far as wrestling? Because, I've never personally been to Russia, but, across the world, you see different things on TV. Was it WWE? Was it...
Yeah, WWE.
WWE, they were televising? Nice.
Back then it was WWF, but yeah.
Yeah. So you watched that, and then, you got picked up kind of by the people in Japan, which, they have a more, I would say, they're more known for wrestling and wrestling schools and training and, New Japan and all of that. So did you move to Japan after that and stay out there for a while?
I didn't move, but I was traveling there a lot for like a course of 3-5 years. I was just traveling back and forth all the time. And then once I went to Japan the first time, I started traveling different countries everywhere around Asia or Europe. Overall, by now, I already been to over 25 countries.
Wow, that's impressive. Because every country has their own style of wrestling. It's unique. It's different. They have their own fan base, but like I said, their style. Like I find Japanese style to be totally different than what you see in America, and totally different than what you see in like Europe.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that Japanese style. Again, they have different promotions there, so it's not one style. But if you want to like put it all together, roughly, that would be more tough, intense, and just more strong.
Yeah, I guess I would say more strong style. But you see that more in Japan rather than in the U.S. It's starting to make it more notable, but originally it was more all Japanese wrestling. You would see the strong style style of wrestling, which is more, more heavy hitting, a little bit more harder. So during that time though, were you just like, so was there any place you were trying to get to, or were you just enjoying the kind of ride, going to the different promotions and working?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was, like I said, I was just starting back then, and I didn't really appreciate, even I would say, that I went to Japan. I thought I was like, okay, that's cool. So I enjoyed the country. I loved exploring the country, and then I was just having fun traveling everywhere, wrestling. And then I got noticed by WWE actually in Singapore, and that's what brought me here.
Wow, that's interesting. That's impressive and interesting. Both of that. Is there any matches in that Japanese era that you find or remember to be notable?
I wrestled Tajiri there when I was working for WNC, which is former Smash. promotion. It's his promotion. I wrestled him there. It's one of the most notable, I would say, because he's obviously a worldwide known wrestler. He's really good too in the ring. If you watch him in person, he moves really intense.
Oh yeah. And so now you said WWE, they noticed you. What did they like? How did they get a hold of you? How did that all come about?
It was all good. I came, had a tryout, all went well. I just had to finish my paperwork, and in the meantime, while I was doing that, I just went a different direction. I'm with NWA now, and I also do AAA, and so basically, I'm still independent, but I do a lot of things, and I'm mostly considering NWA my home.
And in some ways, I mean, I think it can be more lucrative that way. I mean, you're able to still do cool things like come on my show, for instance, or do other avenues of self-promotion that you're not just able to do when you're basically merchandise in WWE. You're kind of given a name, you're part of their property. I find it to be, so much cooler on the indie scene where everybody's kind of unique and they own their own stuff and they're out there making their own and doing all of that. So I can see, why some people would go in that direction. So you did go NWA, which is, not for nothing, one of the most, longest standing wrestling promotions in the country. The heritage and history in that, promotion is just intense. The people that have walked through those doors, just the name NWA alone, it's wild. And they rebooted it, in the pandemic and everything, and it kind of came back strong. Very exciting. So now you're with them and you're over there. How is it compared now, wrestling in US compared to, traveling and wrestling across, the foreign countries?
I mean, I would say that wrestling in the US is my favorite because it's a combination of everything, and I think like the best parts of every other style. But I also have fun doing different things like Mexico, the lucha libre style, which is also a good experience than Japanese style. So I would say if you go like into wrestling terms, American has the most psychology, which I like, storytelling, and it's more character centered wrestling, which I also like. Again, that's what NWA usually do. They have more personality, and it's what I used to love in wrestling when I was watching it as a kid. And so I would consider myself combination of all of that. So I have American base as psychology and all that, combined with a little bit of lucha, a little bit of Japanese style. And I think I just try to pick what I think is the best from every world.
And going, honestly, put it all together like that, it comes out great. And I mean, you've been lucky enough to get to kind of see a lot of those styles firsthand and not, being able to travel. It's a good thing, and it's hard to say right now, but it's a good thing to kind of put in words. When you're an indie wrestler or even, mainstream wrestler, it's good to travel to get out to learn these things and see firsthand. I know a lot of guys right now are going to like Japan from the indie scene, Germany from my area, and they come back with such wisdom and knowledge and with those different styles and incorporated, and blended nicely. But with all your travels, you picked up a little fame. Tell me about what happened up in at the Walmart.
Yeah, that's a really popular story. I mean, it's a long story, so I'm not telling the whole story.
No, just a good part. Just a good part.
Basically, what happened, I got hurt on NWA show, so I was on the flight back with my tag partner, Brian Idol, and I left my purse on the plane. So when we got off the plane, we were like, oh, it's back in the plane. So we asked those people who work there to check, and they said there's no purse. So long story short, we started tracking because I had my AirPods there, so I could track the location of the purse. I was moving around the airport first, then it went to some store. We followed it in the car, and then it ended up in Walmart. And that's where Brian basically approached the guy who took the purse, and he was trying to talk to him nicely first, but the guy didn't want to. So he pushed Brian, he started running away. Brian tackled him like a best movie. All cars went flying, and happy end. We got the purse, the thief is caught, and he's a hero.
Hey, they picked the wrong person to take, from. Not that you should take from anybody, but You guys were able to be smart enough, you tracked them down. I mean, in this day and age, honestly, though, with technology, it's hard to get away with anything like that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy will never steal again.
No, he learned his lesson, and got kind of famous in the meantime, and not in a good way. But you know, you've had some interesting also things. You've gotten to go to fun weddings as well through traveling.
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
You got to go to like cool weddings and stuff. You went on, you know, concerts, music, Smashing Pumpkins and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So basically, again, me and Brian Idol were in the video "Beguiled" by Smashing Pumpkins, an official video. So now, when Smashing Pumpkins do their tours, we're on stage with them everywhere, doing this little spot during the song "Beguiled." And actually, it was fun. It was a really fun experience because we were like sold out Madison Square Garden, Hollywood Bowl, everywhere all over United States. Then we went on a tour to Australia, which was both a wrestling tour and music tour. Been there in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, Brisbane. So basically all over Australia. Was a 2 week tour. So yeah, I definitely love having Billy as a friend. And we have amazing time together. And actually, there's another tour coming up, Smashing Pumpkins. So guys, check it out and come watch us.
So let me ask you: are they big wrestling fans? Do they enjoy wrestling too?
Oh yeah, yeah. He loves wrestling. He's a big wrestling fan, and he really he runs NWA, and he really puts his soul into it. He loves doing it, and he wants it to be successful. He wants to do it the right way.
That's awesome. And you know, 'cause especially, you know, in the world of wrestling, it can be very turmoil, especially when things aren't done the right way. And you can see, you know, just in headlines. I don't like to go into it, but it seems that you did pick the right choice anyways, where you went. But now, you know, right now, you know, you're kind of dominating in the NWA, and it's great to see. You know, it's a very fun promotion to watch. Like I said, it's a different style of wrestling because it does have a blend of everything that you said, and plus traditional wrestling, you know, and that's not what's kind of lost right now. I feel in wrestling, you know, a lot of it is for, you know, kind of I call it, you know, the YouTube views. You do these high end stunts; they're great for the spot, but it doesn't put together a nice match, and it doesn't really make you a good wrestler. It's just you can do stunts. But NWA is a little bit different. You know, you have these classic wrestlers that bring it back, you know, 80s and 90s wrestling when it was about, you know, grappling and submission work and just good classic wrestling. It's something very good. What would you say would be so far your like most memorable match there that you've enjoyed working?
I think that would be an obvious answer for me. It's one of my it's one of my recent matches against Camille. On anniversary show 75, was a street fight for the title. I really enjoyed that match. Fans enjoy that match. So if you've never watched that match, I highly suggest to watch. I had fun. It was a tribute to Terry Funk, and I really wanted to do my best there. And there were a couple crazy bumps there for those people who like those.
Yeah, if I'm gonna put I'll put the link actually in this video that people can click and kind of go and check it out if it's up on YouTube, and they can kind of link to it. You know, I always like good wrestling, and that was a good match, and you know, you could tell there was a lot of dedication into that night. Terry Funk, you know, was one of those people I grew up watching and enjoying, and getting me into wrestling. You know, he got me into kind of enjoying the hardcore scene of wrestling, ECW era, and even beyond XPW and other promotions. But it all started with kind of people like Terry Funk. But yeah, you know, so in all of that, how did you? I mean, so successful. How did you make it into such a dirty city like, well, Kill City?
I was
get involved with the Kill City Cup.
I was just casted to be a part of it, and they told me that. Do you want to be a part of a great mix of video game and wrestling? And I was like, of course I do, because I like both. I love video games and I love wrestling. So I would definitely love to combine that in once. And I think whoever loves both, guys, you gotta go and check it out because it's really cool. It has this like fighting game spirit.
It really is. It's one of my favorite wrestling movies out there. You know, I'm not seeing them all from like no holds barred on. And honestly, it's different. It's not your typical wrestling movie, but it's not your typical wrestling show. it does have that nice blended, between kind of this gaming kind of vibe and, professional wrestling, but it's mixed very well with cinematic blending and good commentary and funny one-liners. It's got a little bit of, for everybody, I would say. It kind of honestly rejuvenated my passion for pro wrestling. For me, it got very stale. Seeing the same kind of things over and over again, same matches. It can happen, especially in the local scene where things aren't, everybody can work anywhere. So if you go to 5 shows, in a month, you might see the same match twice or 3 times. And I got into that kind of a rut. And then, Luke put out this great video. I got a hold of it. I started watching it. Just really inspired me back into wrestling. And it did something, that you were talking about earlier. It allows character work. So coming into that, did you have an idea in your mind that, this is kind of how I want to portray myself? I'm going to be, this person. I mean, you kind of play yourself. It's not like you're different, like Zipmonk or anybody, but, it's a little bit different.
So for me, it was not that much of a change in general because, like I said, I love video games. So all my even wrestling personality and character inspired by video games and characters of video games. Like my gear, I designed it myself. It's kind of like a mix of Final Fantasy characters and Mortal Kombat characters. So I wouldn't say I copy any of them, but I definitely was inspired making my gear. So only thing I had to change is put a little mask so it will look even more video game-ish. And yeah, my wrestling style also, again, same deal. It's inspired by fighting games that I used to play my whole life. I used to love the video game called Killer Instinct, which is not as popular as Mortal Kombat, but it was my favorites. So, like I said, I was really excited when I found out that I can put it in real life and actually be a video game character, basically.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. I was going to ask you next, what's your favorite video game? But that is a great fighting game. I actually played. They still make versions of it even today.
Yeah, well, that was my favorite fighting video game. If you ask me about other video games I like, I would say if you have to pick one, that would be Metal Gear Solid. And I would pick one of those, just let's say the whole series.
Yeah, they just re-released that too. That's another re-release. I play a lot of Xbox myself. They just re-released that since I picked it up. I was a big Metal Gear Solid, especially when it came out. Just the whole, especially for that era, the sneaking around. It was something that just wasn't there before video gaming at the time.
Plus, I think Hideo Kojima is genius the way he writes stories and makes you feel like really involved into the story. And when I played, I think it was the 4th part, 10 years after, I played it exactly 10 years after, and situation in the game was 10 years after. And when they went to Shadow Moses, forever people know what I'm talking about right now, that was like a special feeling, like it's nostalgia feeling like, oh my God, this place changed. It's been a while. So yeah, I think it's rare when a genius like that makes something, and that game is really, really something special.
Very nice. And again, you would go viral once again, and this time it was you against a table. What happened? That table just wouldn't break, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm happy there was a viral video, but in my mind, there's nothing wrong with table not breaking. In real life, if you fight in the bar and you throw somebody on the table may break or may not break. It doesn't make the difference. It hurts. It's all good. Everything is awesome.
But I always say again, people were impressed though, especially the cast and crew, because you just had surgery very quickly.
Those tables, again, I think this is like Japanese style table, which is really solid. So I think it was good. It looked good. Like I felt a table bounced off it. To me, as an art, I'll take it. I personally have nothing wrong with it not breaking.
So you kind of hit it just the right way. It wasn't anything painful. You were able just to kind of bounce up from it.
No, of course. Yeah, I mean, I wrestle every weekend, couple times a weekend. So yeah, if I would be doing something dangerous like that, I wouldn't last long. I know how to do it safely and make it look good.
But it did go viral. I mean, even Stone Cold got a piece of that, which is cool.
Yeah, it was like millions of views everywhere.
Now, when you got casted in the movie, did you know you were going to be like the hero, the winner at that point?
No, I didn't, and I honestly, I don't think they did know that. I think they just, or maybe they did. I don't know. I think to me it felt like it was all on the fly. We were having fun, we were doing this tournament, and whoever did the best won. So I just consider that I did the best.
Yeah. No, and it does, like I said, Luke's a fun person. But I didn't work with him, on set. How was he behind, like, on set? Was he a good director?
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was awesome. I mean, they gave us enough freedom just to do whatever we want. They gave us the direction, what they want to see. It was totally awesome and fun. I didn't feel any pressure. I didn't feel like I'm suffering or working hard. I was just enjoying it. And like I said, the vibe was great. All people involved are awesome. And again, like I think it's so worth watching just because of the fun we had there. I think when you have fun doing something, this fun kind of translates to the viewer.
Now, I heard you caught the eye of another wrestler on set there, Brian Cage, and he's actually interested in bringing you over to AEW. Is there any truth to that?
I hope he is interested. Like I said, I like working everywhere. I did AEW a little bit in the past, and yeah, I mean, just get in touch with me. I'm ready to listen for any proposals and offers. And as for Brian Cage, I think he's a great wrestler, and obviously he's in phenomenal shape, which I respect because, when you do it, you know how much it takes, how much of an effort and time of your life people put into that. So he's like one of the best bodies in wrestling, obviously, and he looks like a video game character for sure. And he's a great guy too. He also likes video games, and he's my friend. I think he's a good person.
No, he is. My wife actually she followed him actually before I even got into I got back into indie wrestling, but she used to follow him through Instagram just because she liked the way, he wrote and the things he said. And I remember when we got married, she actually messaged him, "Hey, do you have any newlywed advice?" And he actually responded to it. It was a pretty cool moment. But yeah, I've seen him a few times live, and he is ginormous. And the amount of time that he has to put in just to maintain must be, I can't even think about the time. But yeah, those muscles are real and it's enormous. But yeah, he's very, like I said, that was one of the greater, great wrestlers on that show. And that show was just stacked, that show was just stacked with a great cast. Jimmy Jacobs, Brian Cage, you had all these guys and girls on there.
Matt Sydal also there is a great wrestler.
Yep.
He is a really good wrestler. He has really deep understanding of wrestling. The thing I like about Matt is that he genuinely loves wrestling and he's there just for wrestling. And I really appreciate that. He's like zero drama, zero problems, just let's have fun and wrestle. I like that.
And that's what it should be. When you walk through, whether you're a fan, whether you're the wrestler, sometimes you want to just leave whatever's bothering you outside and just let it go. You're here to escape. You're here to get into that world of wrestling. I'm very big into kayfabe because it does exist in that escape. That's what I liked about, Kill City. I talked to a lot of, the casting crew, and they're able to kind of well, what would you do with your character this? At the end of the movie, you get betrayed. What are your thoughts on that? What are you going to do for redemption? These are the things that were going through my head, as watching it as a movie. So it makes you think and wonder.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's the right way to do it. And it also gives you a little hope for the second part, which is really exciting. I would be really happy if they decide to make the second one. And I would love to be a part of it, of course. I think the first one did really great. So we have all chances.
It is. I think the first one did excellent. Honestly. And the greatest thing is it doesn't even cost anything to watch. The fans can watch it for free. They can go on YouTube, type in Kill City Cup, and watch the best wrestling movie out there. For nothing. You don't need no subscription. You don't need, Amazon Prime. You don't need no Disney Plus or Max or anything. It's free.
Yeah, definitely worth going and checking it out.
Now you said, you're open to AEW. Is there anything else on the horizon that you're kind of looking at or you're striving to do right now in the industry?
No, the thing about me, I'm open to everything. I just, I love wrestling. So if somebody is like, hey, we have this for you, I would always consider and look if I'm gonna do that, because now, like I said, I'm independent. I'm not signed with anybody. So, like I said, I did Triple Mania, AAA, the biggest show in Mexico. It's been a while since I've been in Japan, but I still have to check. I've been there. AW I already did, but obviously I would like to hear if they have more for me. NWA, I love them, so I like keep working with them. WWE, but I never say no. Who knows? If somebody there would reach out, I would like to talk. So, like I said, open to everything and anything in wrestling. Also, movies. I actually have couple offers from movies, so that's the path I would like to take as well. Because I used to do movies in the past in Europe and Russia. I never done like bigger movies here in the United States. I've done a little small ones. I mean, Kill City Cop, I consider one of the movies I did. But when I say movie, I mean like a movie, like an actual TV
Yeah,
show.
yeah. No, I get it. Like a full produced movie by a film, yes. That's great. And I could definitely see you in there and definitely see, and that's what, if you're a good wrestler, you can be a good actor, I feel.
Stunts for sure. It's a stage fighting. That's what they call it in movies. And I have a certificate. I finished the academy in Russia for stage fighting and acting. So yeah, I have acting experience. So I can combine both. I can take crazy bumps. I can fight. I can act. So
No stunt double required. No stunt double required.
that's
That's always a plus. So that's exciting. And hopefully we'll see you, in a movie theater too. Amongst wrestling as well. So let me ask: if someone was to say, because you have a different path, and a lot of people they started here that I thought they started in the U.S. and they just they went around locally and then they got wherever they had to go. You kind of just you started in a place that isn't really known for a lot of pro wrestling, and you've worked your way into one of the biggest companies just through hard work and continuation. What would you recommend to anyone trying to get into the industry right now?
I think the main thing I want to recommend, regardless if it's wrestling or anything else in your life, just be persistent and never give up. Because that's the thing. When you do something, there are always moments when you feel like everything is bad and wrong and you will never make it, it will never happen. Never let this get to you and just keep going no matter what. That's the main advice I would give. Because, in the end of the day, I think that every person is capable of achieving their dreams. It's only a matter of putting in work and actually being persistent. Yeah, like you said, I started in Russia, and who would think when you say, what is wrestling, they be like, it's this. They don't barely know what you're talking about there. And now, yeah, I'm here, and because I knew what I wanted. So like I said, when I was a kid at 3 years old, I already knew that I wanted to be a wrestler. So I was ready to do whatever it takes and work as hard as I can to get there. And I'm still not there yet. There's a lot of things I would like to accomplish. I want to get bigger. I want to accomplish more. And I'm still not stopping. And I still keep going. And I'm not going to stop.
Wow, that's inspiring though. And like I said, you inspire a lot. How can all of the lovely fans at home find you across social media so they can keep up to date of what's going on?
I have social media. I'm basically on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Twitter, Instagram is Real N as Natalia Markova. Real N Markova. So find me there, follow me there. Basically, all my accounts have blue checks. So there's no blue check. That's not me. I have TikTok too, which I barely do it, but I still have it. You can check that one out too. But mostly on Instagram. And if Facebook, it's Natalia Markova. You will see me again with a blue check. So guys, come check it out. Also a little plug here too. NWA is now on CW app. So if you want to watch NWA starting yesterday, they're on CW app. Go there. It's free app. You can download it for free and watch NWA there.
Awesome. That is great. Because I always had, that was my one thing with NWA. I could never get it on my TV.